What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 390 of the Action Movie Guys podcast. I'm your host, Nate, and my co-host is
Alex Figueroa.
All right, Alex. On this episode, it's a new month. As of recording this, it is the first Tuesday in September. So it's a new month, which means a new theme. And the theme this month is sword and sandals. Sword and sandals movies. So we're talking sort of like these old, like Roman Empire, Greek, back in the day when guys just wore skirts and armor and sandals. Those types of movies, Gladiator, we already did Gladiator, but Gladiator movies, stuff like that. So we're going to kick this off with a little film from 2010. Now, this is kind of a little film. It wasn't a big blockbuster, big budget movie. It is called Centurion. I think it got a small theatrical run. I remember just seeing it come out on Blu-ray back in the day. So it's not a straight to Blu-ray, but because it looks like a real movie, but it's, a smaller movie, but it has a good cast. You got some Michael Fassbender in this, get Dominic West. So you got a couple guys from 300. You got Olga Kurylenko in this. You got that really pretty girl from 28 Weeks Later. So you got a nice cast full of people you've seen. Alex, before this, had you ever heard of this movie? Had you ever seen this movie?
I never heard of this movie. So I'm not surprised when you pick freaking movies. Because I was just like, I had to do some research. Because I was like, what is this movie? And first of all, once the movie starts, it's like Magnet or something like that. I already knew it was going to be bad. Like a bad, low-budget movie. Because if you notice, Magnet does a lot of like straight-to-DVD movies, right? So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, in my eye, I was going, man, this is going to be a freaking horrible movie with all these great actors in it, right?
No, I feel that Magnet from like 2004 to like 2012. This was like their niche, was these low budget, a lot of straight to video, a lot of horror, a lot of genre stuff. So I don't blame you. I forgot this was even Magnet. Magnolia is another one. If you see that little Magnolia logo, you're like, oh no. This could be good or it could be bad. I don't know. Okay, so you never heard of it, never seen it. All right, and of course, this is directed by Neil Marshall, who has done some movies we've liked and some movies we didn't like as much. He, of course, directed The Descent, which is a horror movie I love. But he also directed Doomsday, which we did like. And he directed Dog Soldiers, which you did not like as much. Yeah. And I thought was pretty good. And he's also directed a bunch of episodes of Game of Thrones. So he has experience with this kind of historical stuff. Let's get right into it. Let me give you some Rotten Tomato scores and then let's get into our review. This has a 60% critic score. So it is actually fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, 60% critics. However, audience score, which I thought these might be flipped, audience score is 43%. So not as much liked by the audience as it is by the critics. Are you surprised by those numbers at all?
I'm very surprised with the critics. The audience, I'm not surprised. I kind of figured it was in the ballpark where I was thinking for. Like I was thinking more along the line 40 to 50 along those numbers. The critics, I thought it was going to be in the 20-30s bracket. There's no way I was going to think this. They thought this was a fresh movie. So kudos to the critics. Maybe they thought this was a hit or something.
We like the blood. We like this movie. All right, let's get into our review. Our lead character is the Centurion himself. Quintus Deus is his name. Yeah. He is played, he's a Roman soldier, played by Michael Fassbender in an early lead role. He was always like a side actor, when he first started out. So I think this is one of his earliest leading roles. Alex, go ahead, take it away. What did you think?
Well, he's a great leading man. So I can't say, he's a horrible leading. Like, he's a really good leading man. So, but with that said, in this movie, he was okay. I don't think Michael Fassbender was great. I'm saying that acting wise, he was great. The character himself was just, Like, it was just, there was not much background to this guy. Like, he was just a Roman dude. He was the son of this awesome fighter and a gladiator that won the gladiator, and they let him free. And I'm like, that's cool, but you should have gave us some more background. Like, he told him how to fight, which is cool, but I don't know. Like, Roman movies, for me, when it comes to lead characters, you gotta give me some substance here. You gotta give me some type of background. Like, Gladiator, Ridley Scott did a great job with Russell Crowe's character because you got to see him lead a whole army and win a battle and did this before they, threw his ass out get betrayed and all this. This one, they didn't give us none of that. So it was like it was more of a talk between characters of who this guy is. And I was just like, whatever. Loyal, yes. Very loyal, which I thought it was pretty cool. Fighting wise, I'm not too crazy with his fight. I thought he was going to be an awesome fighter, which, I mean, he's not as great as I thought he would be. But overall, as a package, to be honest, I gave him a 3. I thought the character was good. I don't think he was like a great and an amazing, like, sometimes for me, I want a Roman, I don't know, not dominating, but some strength to him, whether it's like he could withstand pain, whether they stab him and he just gets up and he's holding and fighting 10 dudes and still win, or he's awesome with like all types of weapons. You know what I mean? Like he grabs a sword and he could fight with 2 dudes with swords and he knows how to demolish people, or a good war strategist or something like that. Yes, he does do that. I mean, there's some scenes he goes, we're going to go in the dark and do this. But I don't know. This is something about like these. I just want something that he's unique at, but a flaw at another. He didn't have that qualities that I was looking at. So I give it a 3. I thought he was good.
Yeah, I think everything you say I agree with. He's more like a survivor, like a good survivor than he is like
survivalist. Yes.
Yeah, and an incredible soldier. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, he's mostly, it's either him by himself or with a small group of people versus a lot of other ones. So, that doesn't help. But that's more his shtick. I agree. I gave him a 3. I think Fassbender was a good choice for the role.
Yes.
The performance is good. I really like him, especially like as the numbers shrink, I like him with the other guys. With David Morrissey's character, and then my boy from Game of Thrones, Davos Seaworth. He's the old guy. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, he was in Dog Soldiers too. I guess him and Neil Marshall, that's like his boy, and he to Game of Thrones. So I like it when it was them 3 towards the end, and him with the girl, with like the witch girl. I like that. As far as the character goes, I like that whole dynamic. The rest of the time, he's pretty much just running away from people, trying to survive. He gets captured, he gets freed, he gets captured, he gets free. And you're right, there's like nothing other than a little bit of talk about his past. You don't know where he really comes from, who he is. You don't really get a lot of that. So I gave him a 3. I don't think it's a dynamic character. I think they got a good choice for the actor. I liked watching him, but did I like learn anything incredible about the guy? No, not really. And even at the end, like they're going to kill him because they can't have any evidence of this big, failure that they had. He just escapes and goes to live with the witch. And then that's it. And then that's it. It's over. So it's like, okay, thanks for that. So yeah, I gave the character a 3. All right, villain. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is a weird movie in the sense that, okay, so our main villain, ultimately this character named Etane, who's played by Olga Kurylenko. She's like the woman hunter. And it's the Picts, I think they're called. Mm-hmm. They're like, however, the reason this is weird is because Rome is the invading country and they're defending themselves, but we're following the Roman. So really, you would think he should be the villain and they are the good guys, but it's not. In this movie, the people who are just trying to defend their land are actually the bad guys. And then, of course, at the end, the Romans are they'll kill their own people, but really they're the main villains. So what did you think of that?
In terms of what, the group or
the girl?
Orica?
She's like the main villain.
Etane, right? Etane?
Yes.
Okay, her. Okay. I don't know. You might think I'm weird. Well, first, she's gorgeous.
I don't think you're weird for that.
No, not weird. I'm not saying that. I think she's gorgeous. Even my wife was like, wow, she's beautiful in this movie. Not weird in that. I'm weird in this. I gave her a 4. Not because of background. We already knew the background is that, they came, destroyed the lands, and they're defending. Great. Cool. But the fact is, she has more abilities than the main character. Meaning, she is a tracker. Loved it. Oh, man, I love that thing. I was like, you know what? They should have did more of her doing tracking stuff. But they did. When they showed it, I was like, that's pretty cool. She grabs rocks. She does her sexy looks. And I was like, wow, this is cool. Fighting-wise, remember what I told you? You give strengths and then you give weaknesses. She's not a good fighter. She's good when they're weak. And this is why I was telling my wife, I said, if you notice, when she fought the general of the Romans, the only reason she lost is because he was tired and they had him strapped up and he was getting cut to weaken him. Because if he was in full strength, she would have got killed. And you saw it because he was winning in certain parts, but then he just got too tired and he started to throw the knives. And I was like, okay, there you go. That's her weakness. She's a good fighter, not an excellent fighter, but she's an amazing tracker. And I was like, that is what I'm talking about in terms of characters, where Michael Fassbender should have been an awesome fighter, stinks at, trying to get away and stuff, which, I mean, you can have it both ways because he is an army guy. He does have to learn survival, but not as good as people that live in the land. And that's what I'm trying to say. You can have wits and shit. But anyway, so I like that. And that's the reason I'm giving her a 4. She's very good at tracking. She's a good fighter. 2 excellent. Moderate there. But again, it's just, and I like her with the grant. I mean, they killed everybody. And one thing I always said, and I said, oh man, Nate is going to give this thing a 5, is the blood. Man, this shit is gory all over the place. And I liked it. There was a scene, I mean, it goes under action. I don't want to, but there's a scene that one of them cut half a dude's face off. I mean, you saw that like half a face, and I was like, this is crazy. Yeah, and then she's chopping a dude's head off. And I said, okay, you know what? She's a 4. Like, she gets her hands dirty. She fights the general of the Roman. She wins. She fights Michael Fassbender, which we'll talk about in the action sequences. So she did a lot for a villain, not a master plan, because all she's doing is chasing these guys for a whole hour in the movie. So, and they're getting away. So I'll talk about that storyline. But other than that, I gave her 4. I thought she was really good.
I don't think that's weird because I have the same score. I actually think she's better than it's like you saw the same exact movie as me. I actually think she's better than Fassbender's, more interesting than his character. She has no tongue, so she can't talk. And she was like captured and like raped, and they cut her tongue out and all this stuff when she was younger. She goes to this group and they essentially take her in, train her, and she's like out to get revenge on the people who did it. Now, over time, she just stays with them. Now the Romans are invading. She fights with them. She's a tracker. Everything you said, I second. I think she's more interesting. She looks incredible. Yeah, she is a good fighter, especially for a woman, but she's a woman at the end of the day and she's fighting strong men. Yeah, it's tougher for her, but she's pretty good with that spear. She has like this like spear thing weapon that's pretty cool. And, the men follow her. So she got their respect, and that witch lady knows her. They have like a little bit of a history. I kind of like that element. Yeah, I don't think she's like, if she could talk, maybe she'd be a 5. But I get what they did here. She's Russian. She's a Russian actress. This is a British movie. They're in England or Ireland, one of them. So I think England. I can understand them being like, maybe we have her don't talk. She'll just be like, and that it still works. It doesn't really affect it too much. So I also gave the villain a 4. Now, as far as the others, like I kind of like that group, the Picts or whatever, like when they kill the dude's son. And he's like, now you got to go get them. You got to kill all of them because he killed my son and all this kind of stuff. Like, again, I'll save it for storyline. But anyway, I kind of like them. And then, of course, at the end, the Romans being Romans, we got to kill this guy. Let's give him some chicken and some wine, and then let's try to kill him. And he eats the chicken and then he kills them. So that's what they get. Anyway, 4 for me, 4 for you. All right, action scenes.
Okay. So one thing in this, so I don't know how to say it. So one is gory, very gory movie. The fighting sequences was a kind of lackluster. And this is what I mean. It's not Game of Thrones fighting because it's not a big budget movie. It looks like a straight to DVD movie and it looks low budget. At the end of the day, it looks like a low budget movie, but very unique the way he shot it. I'm going to give this a 5 because I could go with a 4, a soft 4. I could go with a 4. But I'm going to give it the kudos because this guy did what he could do with the budget that he had. You had some cool sequences. Like I said, a lot of arrow shooting, the bulldozers coming in, and they're all getting killed. That big battle there. Michael Fassbender versus Otane at the end, which I kind of knew he was going to demolish her anyway because I knew she was not a strong fighter. So I was like, that's pretty cool. But I loved it because it had to be my favorite scene because they literally fortified themselves in a little camp or whatever you want to call it, like a stronghold. Yeah. And it was them versus 8. And I was like, yo, this is going to be dope. One was on top. The other was shooting like 10 arrows and they held their ground. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a lot of kudos because again, there's not much he could do with the budget that he had. And it worked very well at the end. You got horses getting chopped. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So I'll let you continue, but I gave it a 5. I think in terms of what this director had in his thing, I think he did a great job.
I can't believe we reviewed 2 movies this week where so many horses get beat up and killed. This is like this week was bad for horses on the AMG podcast.
Animal control.
We had the other guy running around punching them and in China, and then in this one they're just getting chopped and slashed and
Yeah.
stabbed. Okay, I got to do it, Alex. Maybe I'm the jerk here.
Good.
I gave it a 4.
I figured.
I agree with everything you said. One major reason. All right, let's start with the positive. Love the gore. You know I'm here for it. I'm here for the blood. I love when people's arms get chopped off, legs get chopped off, chop that head. You know, this is sword fighting. That's how it should be. That's probably how it was in real life. You're coming in here with a freaking sword and you hit it onto flesh. That is what should happen. So I liked it. I like that they didn't shy away from the gore. By the way, the budget for this movie, $12 million. So you're right. It's not a big budget. I agree. I think Neil Marshall did a lot with a little. Personally, I think it's directed well. I love the scene when they're in the woods and those flaming balls come like rolling down the hills and stuff like that from the sides. Visually, I thought it was very cool. But you're right. This is a small scale movie. Warner Brothers was involved, so maybe they put up some of the money. But yeah, for what he had, I think he did well. It is repetitive, which is one of my slight knocks on it. And that's not, it's the nature of the style of movie, right? Like you get people in the woods, soldiers in the woods fighting. Like how many things can you do if you're not going to make it fantasy where they're like flying around and doing crazy stuff? You know, like King Arthur, that King Arthur movie where there's magic power. There's no magic powers. There's no spells. This is just fighting with swords and surviving. So it's limited. The reason I gave it a 4, and it's mostly in the beginning, is I love that this movie is gory and bloody, but there's so much CGI blood that I was like, ugh, I hate that. Like, you're already low budget. Don't go in with, just make squibs, make splashes. I think they did a good, as it goes on, it's less, like there's less CGI blood. But in that opening scene especially, every time they're like, whoosh, whoosh, you just see like, CGI blood splatter. So that was a little annoying. But I do agree with what you said. I do think overall, for having $12 million, they did a really good job of making this movie as brutal as possible. It's almost like horror movie levels of like gore, which is cool with me. I enjoy it. I love the blood. All right. So 5 for you, 4 for me. All right. Storyline.
I gave it a 3. I thought it was good. I don't think it was great, and I don't think it was perfect. It was a revenge story because they killed the son, which I was like, you know what? It's weird because like in these type of stories, it's like you really don't know who you're gonna root for at the end of these things, right? Like where Gladiator, you went for Maximus and all this because they treated him. This one, I didn't know. I was like, Michael Fassbender, you did invade these people. Like I was like, why am I going to cheer for you? So for me, I was like in a neutral state of mind. I was just like, But again, it's a revenge story. He's trying to get away, which again, I think that was the weakest part of for me. Is just them running away, and it was like for an hour they're just running through forests and the winter, and stumbling, throwing themselves on waterfalls, and I was just like, oh god, like this movie could have been 45 minutes for all I know with all this running around. So I wasn't too thrilled with the chase. I was like, But once they stopped and he said, you got to hold your ground, I was like, thank God, you could have did this 30 minutes before and we could have had this movie done by then. But it's a love story. He meets the lady who got banned from the pikes and whatever.
The witch.
And I was like, she's cute. I was like, okay, I can see him. It was kind of obvious he was going to stay back with her. So I was like, it was okay. Like, honestly, overall, the storyline was good. I wasn't like, oh my God, this is like an amazing story. It was good for a Magnet movie. So with that, I give it a 3. I thought it was good.
We're seeing eye to eye on this movie. I gave it a 3 as well. I second everything you said. My main issue, I guess, was what I touched on earlier. These roles should be reversed. Fassbender should essentially be a villain here, and those pick people should be the heroes. Because if you're making a movie where there's an invading force coming into another country to take it over, and somehow that's our hero, it's confusing. I don't get it. Now, on one hand, I don't get it. And on the other hand, I respect the idea of it, right? Because that's pretty rare to show a movie from the person. Imagine, this would never happen, I think. But imagine if they made a movie of like a World War II movie where the Germans are like shown as the heroes. You know what I mean? Obviously, it would not fly. But let's just say they're invading a country and our main character is a German and we're supposed to like be rooting for him. That's kind of what you have here, right? Where the people defending their home are portrayed as the villains of the movie because our main character is a Roman soldier. So on one hand, I respect it. I think it's kind of cool. And on the other hand, it makes it confusing for me where it's like, why am I rooting for him though? Because he's a foreigner in a place he shouldn't be technically. So I don't know. I ended up in the middle. I think it's fine. I think it gets the job done. This is a plot that's there to get you from point A to point B with some killing in the middle. And very, very typical like action movie of this style of action movie. So it doesn't go in any place particularly special, but it doesn't blow. Like it's not horrible. So no. I gave it a 3. All right. Overall.
It's hard to say this, but I gave it a 3. I thought it was a good movie. At the end of everything, for a low budget movie, you have all these Oscar award winning nominated people and you got a good director behind it. And it shows you with a good cast and a good director with a lame ass budget can make an actual decent good movie. So with that said, I give it a 3. I thought it was a good movie.
Again, same score. I also have a 3. I think it's good. I have this on Blu-ray. I got it at the bookstore for like $4. a great $4. I won't lie. I'm not mad at it. Looks good. It's filmed well. This is just like a sturdy, solid action movie. It's what it is. It's 90 minutes long. It has a bunch of actors you've seen and other stuff. Even Riz Ahmed pops up in this, who, when I saw his name in the credits, I'm like, oh shoot, this guy, I didn't even know he was in this movie. He was the villain in the Venom movie, in the first Venom movie, the Indian guy. He's like an Indian looking guy.
Oh, he's the guy from Rogue One, right? He was Brooke.
Rogue One. Yep, he was in Rogue One. He's like a chef or a cook in this movie. He cooks for the military or whatever. So he pops up in here. You get a lot of recognizable faces. I wish Dominic West had a bigger role. He's the general. He ends up dying. I like that guy. So it would have been cool to see him get a little more. But even still, a good, solid. Again, I think it did have a little theatrical run because it has a box office total of like 5 million or something. But this is essentially a straight to video movie. And as such, it's pretty good. Honestly, it's pretty good. So a 3 for me, a 3 for you. What's your total point?
18 out of a 25.
I have a 17 out of a 25 because I was the one who gave the CGI blood a 4. But it could have been a 5. It has plenty of killing. So I think I put this one first because I knew it was the only one that didn't have like a wide theatrical release. So like, let's start off small and let's get more bigger releases after this. Coming up next on the podcast, we have Once Upon a Time in China 5, the movie that I used to want to see, but then I didn't want to see, but now I'm interested to see again. and then continuing on with our Sword and Sandals, an interesting title, Immortals. So now we are going to more of a fantasy type. Think more 300 than this movie, for example. And we have Henry Cavill in this movie. We got Mickey Rourke. We got Frida Pinto from Slumdog Millionaire. I know she's in there. Directed by Tarsem Singh, who, if you don't know the name, did he direct that? You might know the movie The Cell with Jennifer Lopez, that serial killer movie that's all like got crazy.
Okay.
He's a visual director. You'll see. I've seen this movie. I saw it at the theater. You'll see. This is a very visual movie. So totally different direction than Centurion. So that's going to be our next 2 movies on the podcast.
All right. Immortals.
Yeah, I can't wait to see your thoughts on that movie. This came out around the same time, I want to say, of like the Clash of the Titans remake and After 300. So it has more of that fantasy element.
Okay.
But everything looks like a painting from what I remember. Like, it's a beautiful looking movie. So we'll see was it good? I don't remember. I don't remember if I liked it or not, but we'll see how it goes.
All right. With that said, guys, you guys want to follow us on our social media accounts, please follow Nate over on Instagram at Nateflix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called Nateflix Movie Reviews. Anything Action Movie Guys, you guys can head over to YouTube at Action Movie Guys, subscribe, leave comments, enjoy the podcast there, or you can take us on the go with Action Movie Guys podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcasts on. And now we're on TikTok, Geeks and the letter N Flicks. We can put 1 minute exclusive mini reviews and out of theater exclusive clips there. And sometimes Nate does not do his out of the theater reviews full. He does 1 minute clips for the TikToks. So follow or subscribe. Till then, he is your host,
Nate from Nateflix Reviews.
I'm his co-host, Alex Figueroa. Be awesome to each other and geek out.